Hello everyone, my name is Dead Palette and we're going to read a scary story entitled Pin Man, and it has this symbol in it. I'm wondering what it could be about. So I discovered this story on the Creepypasta Wikia. It's allegedly a cryptid story. I wonder what cryptid it could involve. Let's get into it, folks! I am familiar with the myths and urban legends surrounding him. He is called the Slenderman, the Operator, Tall Man. I know the signs of who he is. Featureless countenance, tendrils, black suit, amazing height. Sounds like a bunch of ads, little things that you would like put as bullet points on a toy for Slenderman. The unconfirmed ones. Fog, humming. I guess they mean like the digital humming sound, not like Slenderman's, I'm Slenderman. Pages, slaves. But I have come to know him as something different. Pin Man. Okay. Just like every time someone tries to add to the Slenderman mythos, you have a bunch of questions to ask of like, are you going to add something that is just another dimension of the same story? Or are you going to try and change the concept of what Slenderman is? My name is Samuel, and my wife's name is Amber. I am a writer and musician. I live a quiet life in a small city. 3 decades ago, I began my career as a writer. My stories were on average length and content. What is average length? Pregnant pause. What is the average length of a story? Like, that's a weird thing. That's very subjective as to what the average length is. Fairly good, if I do say so myself. It was because of Amber that I began to write. She was the inspiration behind it all. My first book, entitled The Traveler's Guest Book, a stereotypical adventure/fantasy novel, was surprisingly well received. Why would you describe your own, like, unless you're being self-deprecating, but you're not being self-deprecating in a funny way, why would you describe it as like stereotypical, very similar for the genre? Really, you could just pick it out of a lineup and whatever, it's the same. I made a heavy sum of money from it, which I put into good use buying for myself a large house in North Carolina. So your grammar is not good, and you're a writer. Don't put yourself in that position. Your narrator can't be a good writer if you aren't a good writer, frankly. Not to be mean, but it's just the case. Like, this doesn't add up. And so, it's much easier to make it a layman. Like, just say like, oh, I'm a musician, and yeah, I'm interested in these kinds of things, and I focus on music mostly. And then, like, you don't need to have perfect, excellent writing. You can be flumsy and bumsy and wibbly and woobly, and it's not a problem. So don't make yourself have that problem unless you are an excellent grammar Nazi. I don't make that problem for myself. You shouldn't either. All of my books, 7 others, have been well received and quite popular among the young, old, and in between. So just say everyone, but that, okay, this is not something that a, best-selling writer would say. Also, if you're a best-selling writer, we could verify that. Unless this is like the internal fiction, but you're talking about Slenderman, and Slenderman has this like pretense of being real. So these are all kinds of problems really quickly, just hitting me in the face at a glance. Before the events I will shortly describe to you, I even had a movie deal on the line about Slenderman. Sony made me my Slenderman movie. Think about this. Have you neither heard of me nor my books? The reason will be revealed if you shall hear my story to the end. Is it because you're delusional? So apparently we're going to have an explanation given as to why we have never heard of this seemingly famous author. Good. But will it be a good explanation is the question. And then the whole thing of like, shall here, like, who uses shall? Shall the cock and ball torture commence? The date is January the 23rd, 2011. A very crisp day. Like a nice apple, or like a good potato chip. Clouds blanket the sky. I'm being mean. Clouds blanket the sky and shroud the sun, allowing Fierce cold to pervade the entire state, seemingly. To seemingly pervade the entire state is what it... So, like, if me, super anti-grammar Nazi, super, let the story be what it is, write however you want, use your imperfect grammar to your advantage, if I am finding these grammatical problems that frequently, then there's a problem. I awake to the smell of fresh, delicious coffee. I throw on my red plaid bathrobe and saunter downstairs where Amber is busy preparing breakfast. "Morning, love," she says happily. She plants a kiss on my cheek as I pour myself a cup. Okay, so I'm liking the scene setting here. This is all working out wonderfully. I'm feeling like the beginning of all of this was unnecessary. None of that was needed. If we started here and tightened up the grammar in this current paragraph, I would be a bigger fan of where this is going. A note on all of my books. All of my books are handwritten in cross-brand pen, a very expensive and dependable manufacturer, then typed by Amber. Okay, interesting detail. Some people are traditionalists like that and just never learn to type properly or don't care to. As I survey the quiet neighborhood through the window, she says to me casually, "Dear, I found one of your pens out in the yard the other day." Really? I say. She hands me the pen. A.T. Cross Townsend Black Lacquer, that's, alcoholic Freudian slip. Black lacquer fountain. I kiss her on the head and make a mushy remark about her eyes, then hurry back upstairs to put it in its place. So this is an interesting premise, stuff ending up where it's not supposed to be. And as my friend Seth says, all horror stories are just things ending up where they're not supposed to be. Whether it's a monster ending up in reality or whatever, I think it's actually a profound what's the term? Layman statement. A layman made a brilliant statement about horror. So I like that. I would kind of prefer Slenderman not even to come into the equation. The moment I open the door, a chill snakes down my spine and through my bones. Your spine is one of your bones. God damn it. That can't, I'm being very hard on this story. That can't be. The heat is on and there is a fire in the fireplace. I warily cross the room to my writing desk and put the pen where it usually sits. Then I notice the other odd thing. I only have one black lacquer Cross Townsend fountain pen, but two are present. I examine the pen more closely to look for telltale signs of it not being mine. Okay. I hold it close to my face, turning it around, over, finally sitting down and holding it under the light nearly within my eye. So you're about to, like, stab your eye? That's written a little weird. I think that's what they're saying, though, is that it's, like, really close, like looking down the barrel of a gun. And there, reader, is a symbol. Okay, that's not a very, like... That should be dramatic, but it's not. The symbol, I ask you, musingly, to guess what symbol. Scratched into the side of the pen, a white circle with an X through it. So, presumably, the Slender Man has an affinity for, what is it? It is A.T. Cross Townsend Black Lacquer Fountain Pens. The Slender Man is all, that's his name brand pen too. Great minds think alike. You're both men of culture. And, he just, he had a pen like that and he carved his name into it. He carved the operator name into it, which makes sense because he doesn't want people to, like, think that that's, so you should return it to him, obviously. I immediately know the thing is not mine and hear a deathly humming noise from behind me. In a desperate attempt to save myself from what I know is coming. What do you know is coming? I shove the window up so hard and fast that the glass cracks. I raise my arms to throw the pin, but a malicious tendril-like apparatus winds around my arm, tightening so fast that it feels like it will explode. Why do you know about the Slenderman already? And if you do know about the Slenderman, why do you think he's real? I whirl around and come face to blank face with him. With one of his more human arms, he makes a motion as if to say, hush. That is not how the Slenderman just stalks people. He just stalks people and then, like, teleports them to different dimensions. How do people not... How do people not get what the Slenderman does? Why do they always make the Slenderman like some crazy serial killer type? It just, hush. It doesn't make sense, guys. Like, if you're going to make like a Slenderman fanfiction where Slenderman is fucking someone and you want him to like, shh, honey, I'm going to tendril your butthole. That's one thing, but like, if you're trying to like seriously write a Slenderman story, now I know the song he hums, but can't recall intimate or properly name it. The blood drains from my face and my heart beats against my chest like a caged gorilla. I slump down into my chair, head upon my books. So I was making a joke earlier about Slenderman, I'm Slenderman, humming around, but this story apparently is saying no, it's actual humming. Then I awake. I am still in my room. Rain pours, pounds the roof. Thunder rattles the ground. The last thing I remember is pouring the coffee that Amber made, the cool air filling my lungs. Okay? But I look down at my book and see handwriting that is not my own. All work and no play makes Slenderman a dull boy. Past the last stanza I remember writing, scrawled in the same morbid form as the symbol, are the words that started the seventh paragraph of the story and end the 15th. So the last stanza... Using the term stanza to describe something that isn't poetry is weird. But maybe... So Slenderman is like writing a story for you. Slenderman is your ghostwriter. I read the horrible text and rushed downstairs. The coffee pot lies shattered on the floor. The breakfast burnt and smoking. An acrid stench fills the room. Scrapes of cloth worn by my wife this morning lay throughout the entire first floor. The window are boarded as with the doors. Gone are the beauty of my house, but worse, lost is my wife. Why would you be writing in this weird, dramatic, flowery way if you're like going through this trauma? Wouldn't you just spell it out? Wouldn't you say, gone was my wife? Wouldn't you say, my wife is gone? That is not how people speak, okay? Like, I don't mean to be rude, but like, a professional writer wouldn't write this way. Like, name professional writers who write this way. For real. Like, and like, take a meme like, Stephanie Myers doesn't know how to write. She doesn't write this way. Like, no. Okay, I think I made my point. I think I'm harping on this too. You know what it is? Is like, the writer says like, I'm a professional writer. It's like, oh, the fuck you are. And it puts me in that mode. And I get angry. Okay. I break down on the floor, face in my hands. Then a monstrous, monotonous voice tells me, in an emotionless, sinister tone, she is gone, not gone. I look up through teary up the dark stairs. There he stands. His tendrils have gone, and his hands are folded in front of him in a business-like manner. What? What do you mean business-like manner? When I see someone with their arms folded like this, like, I don't think business-like manner. Like this, maybe? I don't know. Why is Slenderman killing people? Why is Slenderman killing people? If you write what my pen tells you, she will return to you. I rush upstairs to my book. I lay waste to the nearly 20 chapters I have finished and begin writing the morbid story of the Pin Man's pen. Alan Wake is rolling in his grave. The fictional character. I find myself sitting in the... Why do Slenderman stories always piss me off so much? I love Slenderman, and I find myself sitting at the cafe on a Sunday, looking right at the calendar. It's August 5th, 2012. I know not where I am. Why does it matter what the date is? What relevance does it have to anything? Catching the stares and glances from those around me, I find my clothes to be nothing but ragged, torn black suit as I had just run through. It's like storytelling, it rhymes. He becomes in the suit, running through the woods after a funeral. On my table sits a thick book and full cold coffee cup. What do you mean by cold? Was it cold brew? Is it some nitro brew? You getting some of that fancy nitro brew? Or is it like hot coffee that's gone cold like this? From the distance, I see a woman in a mourner's black dress, in the same condition as mine, approaching. She sits down in front of me. It is Amber. The waitress sets in front of me my receipt. It simply says, "You are free now." So the waitress is just under Slenderman's control too? Okay. The waitress sets in front of me my receipt. Do I need to explain why that's improper grammar? The waitress sets in front of me my receipt, she does. I embrace Amber. I love you, I try to say, but all that comes out is a low, deathly hum. Both of us found our location, gained our freedom, and lost our voices. My house had been sold to another family. I still have trouble remembering everything. I have not yet regained my ability to speak. The Pin Man let me keep my ability to write and did neither of us physical harm. It ripped her dress. It ripped her dress and boarded up your house. Like, what do you mean no physical harm? But like, it was physically altering the world. Amber told me by writing that how else would she, that she had to draw for him in some abandoned warehouse. He appeared to me in my dreams, telling me that he will return one day. Amber was spared the dreams. What was she? Is she an artist? What was she drawing? What is going on? Oh my god. Just rolling through some of these comments. Slendy Man, you have returned. They can't speak. Would they turn into Slendy-like creatures? I wonder what good old Slendy had Samuel's wife write. She wasn't writing anything. She was drawing. Oh. Fear Fiction Podcast.